Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the Midwest today, across the plains as well. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into it. Hey, are you guys headed to win the storm? The office was a frenzy this morning, making sure that we had everything ready for our booth. There's a big trailer out in front of our office with everyone packing things up into the trailer to get ready for Win the Storm. We are very, very excited, and we've got a great booth for you to come visit August 20th through the 22nd, so just a few days away. Win the Storm down in Dallas, Texas. If you have not gotten your tickets for Win the Storm yet, use that discount code HailTrace to save some money on those tickets. Alrighty, moving on to our weather headlines today. Yes, a major hurricane this weekend. We woke up on Saturday morning to a Category 5 hurricane. Something that we expected to happen, maybe Cat 4 by late last night. No, we saw some rapid intensification overnight Friday and into Saturday morning for what I called a surprise Category 5 hurricane, and we wrote a blog about it. So if you're interested in Erin, we'll be talking about it later on in this forecast, and we have that information at HailTrace.com. Other than that, hail for the plains today from Denver to Bismarck. We are watching for a hail chance, and windy in the Windy City. Yes, it looks like we could get some strong winds across Chicago, Milwaukee, and other portions of the Mississippi Valley. So we actually have seen that risk extend all the way down to near St. Louis and into Fayetteville, Arkansas, which we'll show you here in just a few minutes. It was pretty quiet yesterday. We're kind of at that time of the year that high pressure system sets up, and it really directs our storms, and it makes weeks at a time pretty quiet. Yesterday, we didn't see too many reports on the radar. We saw some wind reports, but those hail reports were few and far between. We didn't see maybe one or two yesterday. Now, we currently have a severe thunderstorm warning and a severe thunderstorm watch across Milwaukee and just to the north of Chicago right now. We're watching for this area of the country for the hail, this area for wind. Actually, let's get right into your risk for today. We've got a level 2 risk, that slight risk anywhere from South Dakota to Nebraska, Kansas, and then portions of Colorado. I do have a very specific forecast for Denver today. We zoom right into it and talk about the hazards. And I have a very specific forecast for Chicago as well, where we do have a tornado risk. They're highlighted in yellow, but we'll get into it here. Tuesday, remember how I said it was pretty quiet this time of the year? Tuesday looks pretty quiet. So does Wednesday. Our focus will be turned out to the east, where we have a hurricane that could skim or get really, really close to North Carolina here. What does that mean? We'll talk about that and those impacts here in just a few minutes. Alrighty, let's take a look at your current setup. We've got a low pressure system hanging out across the central plains. We've got high pressure attempting to build back in out to the west, but we do have high pressure that has built itself and really just parked itself across the southeast right here, making for a very, very hot and humid day across the southeast. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about this here in just a few minutes, but this high pressure system that you see right here, locking in that heat and making it very, very uncomfortable for some, anywhere from Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Missouri, and Arkansas, has also helped to push that hurricane farther to the east. So that hurricane, it's trying to come to the west. You can see it down there in the corner of the screen right now. It's trying to move this way, but this high pressure system is going to help to push it out the other way. Right now, let's see, what do we have going on in the east? Not too much, pretty dry out there, all thanks to that high pressure system. We've got a line of storms that are going across Chicago, just to the west of Chicago right now. That is why we have a severe thunderstorm watch in place right now. Current temperatures, I told you it's toasty, 90 degrees in KC, 93 in OKC, 95 in Dallas, and we even have the low 90s across the southeast. And just warming up too. It's just gonna get hotter. Let's talk about your significant hail risk here. We have a small hail risk, okay? So anything highlighted in yellow is going to signify small hail today. If we could get some of those oranges to move in here, and I think that we do in some places, we could get up to golf ball size hail. Let's watch this one more time. All right, we've got maybe some orange that's trying to sneak into the middle of Nebraska. Ooh, yeah, there you go. Nebraska, right through the central to western side of the state. we could see some larger hail in this area. Whenever you go down into places like Denver, it's just those white colors, which means small hail up to the size of a quarter, maybe $half size hail. So let's get exactly into that. Here's your forecasted max hail size today. I put it at golf ball size hail. Here's your hail forecast for today. Now it's just that orange layering right here that goes up to golf ball size hail. Where are we expecting that? Let me break this down for you. Wide to scattered showers and storms across Colorado, Kansas, and portions of Nebraska. That's why we have a better chance to get hail in here, because you're just going to have more storms. You go farther up to the north and your storms are much more isolated. From Rapid City to Pierre, all the way into Valentine, Nebraska, you may have 1, 2, maybe 3 storms in this area, but they're going to be pretty isolated. So could you get large hail? Yes. Will everyone be getting large hail? No. More storms down to the south. All right, let's get to that wind risk here. So moving on to that wind risk here, highlighted in blue, it's a lot more expansive than what we saw for the hail risk. So we go a little bit farther out to the east into places like the Midwest, Des Moines, Chicago, Milwaukee, where we have the storms moving across the area right now. Going down to the south into Columbia, Missouri, just on the edge of St. Louis here, and Fayetteville, Arkansas, we could also see some storms today that extend all the way down to the south here and bring us strong winds. How strong are we talking here? Up to 60, maybe 70 mile-an-hour winds. Your tornado risk today. Yes, we have a level 1 tornado risk for both Milwaukee and Chicago. That's for storms that are going on right now. Now, the storms are on the west side of this risk right now, but they do expect to track a little bit farther to the east, not only now, but there could be multiple rounds of storms here, bringing us in to the late evening hours. So let's talk about timeline. When are these storms coming through? Let's take a look at it. Again, we have the storms moving in right now across Wisconsin and Illinois. We're going to see more storms go up later on today in Colorado, much more widespread down to the south here, and much more isolated as you get into places like South Dakota. A few showers and storms extending from a line into places like Missouri, and then are all the way as far south as Fayetteville, Arkansas. Let's zoom in. Let's talk a little bit more about this. And hey, by the way, comment where you're watching from. We are obviously talking about a lot of states that could get some storm action today. So let us know where you're watching from, and we'll try to tailor this forecast exactly to your area. Cole says, we want to know what's up with Erin. Okay, give me like 3 graphics, and I've got Erin in the forecast. So let's talk about Denver first, then we'll go to Chicago, then we'll go to Erin. Denver, storms coming through later on this afternoon and evening, clearing out shortly after your evening commute. Then we see the storms going into places like McCook and North Platte. We still have a hail risk as they go into the late evening hours. Now moving off to the east, we're going to go to Chicago next. Oh, we're going to start with Denver. Okay, so Denver, marginal risk today, level 1 risk. What are the biggest risks here? Very, very low tornado risk, large hail risk, up to $half size hail. That's going to be the biggest risk that you're watching for today. You could also see some high winds up to 60, maybe 65 miles an hour, and that flooding risk looks pretty low. We've got people joining in from Dallas, Texas. Thanks for joining us, Dallas. It's hot across Dallas, Texas, and San Antonio right now. Yeah, it's pretty hot out there, right? Let's keep going across your storm risk today. Wisconsin into Illinois, this is your tornado risk here. Storms will continue not only right now, right? We have storms just to the west of Chicago and Milwaukee right now, but also through the late evening hours. Look at this, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, we still have storms going through this area. Multiple rounds of storms are expected today and even into tomorrow morning. Yeah, you guys are going to have a lot of rain in this area. So we do have a flood risk. Pinpointing Chicago, your timeline for storms in Chicago, 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight. But I would honestly add on top of that and say another round early tomorrow morning. Look at all that rain coming through. So yes, we do have a flood risk for Chicago today. A level 2 flood risk, which means that scattered showers and storms are likely. All right, here you go. You guys wanted to talk about Erin. Here it is. Category 4 hurricane right now, downgraded from a Category 5 hurricane that we got this weekend. Now we have pressure at 935 one more time there. Your pressure is 935 millibars. Remember, the lower that pressure, the stronger the storm. 935, not too bad. It's moving from the west-northwest at about 10 miles an hour, about average, maybe a little bit slower than normal. And your winds at a whopping and very impressive 140 miles an hour. Let's zoom down and let's talk about the track. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Erin, but we're also going to go a little bit farther into the future, and we're going to talk about a wave that's just off the coast of Africa right now that could be our next system. So ignore this area in orange right now. Let's zoom down into Erin, which is just to the north of the Leeward Islands at the moment. This will continue to track to the north. Now, what's going on right now is it's taking that westerly turn and it's starting to go northwest, and then it'll go to the north. So you can kind of see that curve right here. It will continue to track to the north, and we'll talk about why that is here in just a few minutes. But it'll continue to track to the north, and then you'll see the wind speeds go down as we've got a little bit of shear that's moving in here. That will not only help to widen the hurricane, so it's growing in size. We've seen it grow throughout this weekend, but it'll continue to grow in size as it continues to move to the north. There's two main reasons for this. One of those reasons is latitude. The farther north that you go, we often see hurricanes just get larger. That's very normal. We've also got some very warm waters the farther north that we go as well, and so that's also going to help for Erin to expand in size. Let's move on here. All right, as it gets a little bit closer to the U.S., we're talking about Category 3 strength, Category 2 strength. Now, you see this and you say, hey, it's pretty close to North Carolina. What are we expecting at this point? So by late Wednesday and into early Thursday, we're expecting those really, really high wave heights, right? We're expecting swells. We're expecting life-threatening strong waves in this area. We're expecting just a lot of impacts to the coast, which could include some flooding to some of these outer islands right here. That will be, Outer Banks area. That's going to be some of the biggest impacts to the United States. 110 mile per hour winds in Hurricane Erin, Category 2 at this point. However, you get all the way off to the coast here, we're talking about 45, maybe 55 mile per hour wind speeds. Still very impressive, still something that you want to be aware of. But for the most part, the eye of this storm is thankfully going in between Bermuda, in between the U.S. It's not going to impact directly. It's not going to directly impact any major civilizations. Great news. However, some of those peripheral impacts will be something to be noted, because we could see some of these outer islands be greatly impacted here. TJ, yeah, glad it's turning away from the land. Yeah, you see that initial westward track, and then you kind of take a deep breath whenever you see it move up to the north, right? So it kind of just parallels the East Coast. Let's keep moving on here. I'm going to go back to this area of disturbance, but I want to first talk about why this is happening. Why do we see it turn away from land? Why do we see it move up to the north? There's two reasons. We've got a high pressure system off to the east, and we've got another high pressure system that's sitting in the southeastern portion of the U.S. right now. Now, it's a little messy over here. We've got kind of two high pressure systems that are trying to set up, this one breaking down, that one farther out to the west, trying to move in and take its place. But overall, what that means is that this high pressure system is going to repel Erin, pushing it farther to the east, making that westerly track that it originally had move up to the north. So this storm is trying to take the path of least resistance. High pressure system, lots of resistance. High pressure system out to the east, also lots of resistance. What this storm is going to do, as we've already seen it do, make that westerly track. It doesn't want this high pressure system, so it's going to turn to the north, and it's going to go right in between these systems. Another thing that we can see from this map is that we've got the jet stream farther up to the north right now. That's going to help to, as this goes to the north, it's not going to keep it straight up to the north. This jet stream right up here that you can see from some of these reds, oranges, and yellows, that's going to help to turn it off back to the east. And so it's not going to hit our New England states. It's not going to hit portions of Canada. What this storm is going to do is it's going to continue to track to the north, and then it's going to curve back to the east. At that point, it's going to be pretty weak, Category 1, maybe even tropical depression at that point, and we won't be too terribly worried about it. So there's your high pressure system. This is why it's so hot across the U.S. right now. Dun, 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 dun. And you can see it. There you go. Curve back to the east. These lines right here, this is your spaghetti plots, spaghetti model plots. We'll take a look at those in just a few minutes. What your spaghetti plots tell us is it tells us different models, so different weather models will take into account different things. It'll take into account temperature, maybe sea surface temperature, winds, and they all have a different outcome, right? What that's going to do is it's going to give us all different opportunities or options about where this storm is going, and we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Category 4 hurricane right now. Oh, we were talking about shear. Okay, so here's what this map is telling us. High shear highlighted in blue, not good for the storm. It's going to weaken the storm. You see more blue, the weaker the storm is. So we go from a Category 4 to a Category 3 as some of the shear starts to break down this storm. Remember that storm is growing at this point as well. It's going to get bigger. Cat 3 by late Wednesday, Cat 2 on early Thursday, continuing to track up to the north and east as a Cat 2 and then Cat 1 storm as it gets into some cooler waters. Okay, here's your spaghetti plots here. We are seeing that one model in particular wants to bring this storm just a little bit closer to North Carolina. Now you can't trust that one model. Often what you do whenever you take a look at all of these different models is you say, what's the consensus? The most models are agreeing on what? A northward turn and then back to the northeast. So you can see that curve coming in from the majority of the models, right? Is it possible to go a little bit closer to North Carolina? It's possible, but it's very, very unlikely. There you go. There's your spaghetti models. The GFS has a little funky turn in here. We go to the south, we go to the north, we go to the south. We kind of loop around ourselves. GFS, what are you doing? Alrighty, let's go back. Let's talk about this next system. So this is very common. You see one strong storm go through, and it kind of starts off a conveyor belt of storm after storm after storm, almost like it's laying the tracks for storms behind it. So this is very, very common. In a very similar fashion, just a little bit farther to the south, we have another significant wave coming off the coast of Africa. That's what you see highlighted there in orange from the X. As this continues to track to the west, a little bit closer to the states, as it gets into this region right here, we have a 50% chance of it forming into something significant. Tropical cyclone, some sort of tropical storm, hurricane. It's still too far out to know exactly what that is. However, we can see from Erin that we have potential for a strong hurricane on our hands. It's too far out to tell, but it's something to watch. Us meteorologists, we like to say the trend is your friend. So something that happened before could likely happen again. That's possible. So over the next 7 days, we'll keep an eye on this tropical wave as it strengthens, especially with it being just a little bit to the south and closer to the equator. It's got all of that warm water. It can strengthen into a hurricane very, very nicely. We'll have to track that. But there's nothing for sure right now, just something to watch. Over the next 7 days, we have to keep that in mind. As this does strengthen and it becomes a named storm, its name will be Fernand. It's next on our list. We just had Erin, Cat 5 storm, Cat 4 now. Fernand is next. Gabrielle is after that. Humberto, I hope I'm saying that correctly. We'll have to check the pronunciations of some of these storms as we get down the list. HailTrace has, I think, 12 to 16. I think that's our forecast. Named storms. Actually, what is our forecast? Let's see if I can pull that up for you guys. So we've seen 5 named storms already. I'm going to go off to the side and get on my computer and see if I can pull up that forecast for you. Hurricane. Aha, there you go. That was fast. Okay, so on average, most seasons, on average, we get 14 named storms. 7 of those become hurricanes, and 3 of those become major hurricanes. Now, last year, we had 18 named storms, so an above average 2024 season. 11 of those hurricanes and 5 of those major hurricanes. Do you guys remember Beryl, the first hurricane of the Atlantic season of 2024, last year? It also became a Category 5 hurricane. So first hurricane of this year and first hurricane of last year, both Category 5. This year, here is our forecast: 12 to 17 named storms, 6 to 10 of those hurricanes, and 2 to 3 of those major storms. Major hurricanes. We've already gotten 1 major hurricane. We've probably got 5 more hurricanes to go, and at least 7 more named storms. So if we go back to our names here, we are saying that we'll probably get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 2 Lorenzo. So we have a lot more to go, which is typical, right? It's very typical. Climatologically speaking, it's very typical for us to get busier and busier and busier as we head into the end of August and early September, and even through most of September. So we probably have about 3 to 5 more weeks of very, very active Atlantic season. 5 to 7 more weeks of a lot more activity out in the Atlantic. And there you go, there's your hurricane forecast. We also talked about storms across the plains and the Midwest today. We have a brand new update here. Earlier I told you that Tuesday looked pretty quiet. Now the Storm Prediction Center is telling you that you have a marginal risk, a level 1 risk, anywhere from Ohio to Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas included in this level 1 storm risk here. I wonder, I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to see what are your main hazards for tomorrow. Okay, Storm Prediction Center saying wind. Wind is going to be your main hazard for tomorrow. We're talking about strong wind speeds, 60, 65 miles an hour. Hail, very, very low risk here. Tornado, also very low risk. Here is your radar for tomorrow. There you go, you got some storms in Oklahoma early in the morning. More development in Kansas later on in the afternoon and late evening hours. And there you go. All right, let's talk temperatures. Yeah, it's hot out there. Temperatures are in the 90s across a good portion of the U.S. right now, which is a little above average for this time of the year. Now, it's going to stay hot as we head into the rest of the work week, right? We've got 91 here at about dinner time in Oklahoma City, 90 in Kansas City, 92 in St. Louis, 90s in Birmingham as well. One of the hardest things about this heat is that even overnight, temperatures don't cool off. Your AC is working overtime even through the overnight hours, right? 79 in Oklahoma City, 80 degrees as you wake up tomorrow morning in Memphis. Oh, that's tough. Got the mid-90s once again tomorrow. Do we cool off? Maybe a little bit. All right, okay, I see a cold front action trying to come into to Memphis at 86 on Wednesday. Okay, so we see a little bit of a cool off. I'll take it. Going from the 90s to the 80s, I'll take it. And hey, look at this. August 23rd through the 27th, a lot of us cooled down across the Midwest, across the East Coast, even through portions of Oklahoma and portions of Georgia, not the southern side of the states, but the Carolinas, we all cooled down. That'll be really, really nice. All right, you got outdoor plans? Try to plan that for the end of this month. Maybe a little bit rainy, especially on the West Coast, but hey, that's not too bad because we need the rain out here to mitigate the fire danger, so I like this forecast. Okay, this forecast looks really good. Any leftover questions? No questions. We've got some people jumping in from Cheyenne, Wyoming. We've got TJ saying It looks like a monster storm. Brady says, bring on fall next week. Okay, what do you guys think? Do you guys think it'll be a fake fall where we'll get temperatures in the 70s and 80s, kind of a taste of fall, and then we go right back to warm temperatures, back into that summer-like weather? Hey, at least this fall-like weather is coming in for football season. Are you guys excited for football season? Look at this, cooler temperatures just as football season kicks off. Alrighty, we'll stop talking. We'll let you go enjoy the rest of your lunch. Monday afternoon forecast, make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We do these forecasts every single weekday right around lunchtime, so right around noon. Give us a call if you're interested in a wind, hail, or tornado map, 855-334-4245, or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You can even head over to our website, hailtrace.com. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here for your forecast